I'm Mike.
And I'm Adam.
And this is Stuff and Waffle. Two friends talking about stuff, and often as not, waffling with frequent reference to Bond cars.
Well, this week, in the world we live in, where it seems to have gone slightly mad this week, what we're going to do is we're going to just bring it back a bit with the topic we've actually promised to do ages ago, and we're going to actually do it now.
I'm glad you didn't mention the primary reason this week's gone a bit sideways, because we don't want to get into that.
We don't. Oh,
No.
yes, oh dear.
Yeah, it's bad, isn't it?
Do you know what? I didn't expect to wake up and see that.
No, it wasn't good. It brought back all the same feelings of when I woke up in 2016 and saw the same result.
Yeah. Do you know what it was the fact it wasn't even close.
Yeah, that's what surprised me. Yeah, absolutely. That actually it was a big win. Of all the various parts of.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah, let's snack at that, isn't it?
It's problematic, is what that is.
It will be. Yeah.
Yeah, so that'll be fun.
Yeah,
it's right.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, well, Elon's pleased, so great.
Well, it could be good for Tesla sales, I suppose. Introduce it to a whole new audience.
Yeah, great.
Yeah. Well, even more reason to not buy one anymore.
Yeah, mind you, the amount I've actually started seeing more and more of those stickers on the back of them.
They are selling like hotcakes, those. Yes.
Yeah.
I'm glad you've seen them. They're really getting around.
Yeah.
Bit of distancing going on there.
Yeah. Difficult, that, isn't it?
Yeah, it's tricky. Well, and it genuinely is tricky because they're really good cars. It's just.
Yeah. Oh, it's a problem.
It is.
Oh dear. I mean, how have we ended up here? But I'll tell you what, though.
Let's move it on.
We'll move it on, because what we're going to do, we're not going to talk about any glow-in-the-dark lunatics. We're going to talk about.
Gibbons will be mentioned.
No. What we're going to talk about is a topic that we discussed well over a year ago, I would say.
We're right on these things.
Yeah. I mean, it's all in the prep. In the prep.
It's a service we provide. This, yeah.
So what we're going to do is we're going to run through our favourite homologation specials.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Now I've been looking forward to this one.
Yeah, for some time. Yes.
Oh yeah. Yeah, my list's been poised for some time now.
Percolating, you might say.
Oh, very good. Not at all awful.
No, not in any way. It's fine.
So I've ended up with quite a list.
Yeah, you've got a longer list than me.
Yeah, which I'm probably going to, as we go through, I'm probably going to be selective. I probably won't read them all out. So just for clarity, what I've done is I've got two distinct sections.
You're so organised with this.
Yeah, so I mean the two major ones that I've got, it's split into rally cars and sports or GT cars, if you will.
Okay.
So yeah, I think it started to emerge on its own like that. I thought, I'll tell you what, let's split it now, so that if
yeah, that's a good shout. I could probably split mine by those categories, to be fair. Yeah.
Okay.
That's not unreasonable. Yeah.
So okay. What I've got is I've also got a selection of them which I've sort of marked and went, I think you'll probably have these.
There's bound to be some crossovers. Bound to be.
Yeah. So what I'm going to do on those ones, I will probably refrain from shouting them out because I think you'll say them. And if we get to the end and you haven't, then I'll throw them in as a token.
Yeah, you could always do a little quickfire list at the end to just mop up your list.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll see where we get to. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So, well, without further ado, let's kick it off, shall we?
Let's crack on. Yeah.
On. So, I'm gonna start in the world of rallying.
Okay.
With a car that's probably dear to all of us. And correct me if I'm wrong, is the last two-wheel drive rally car to win the Constructors' Championship. And that would be the Lancia 037.
Oh, a discerning choice. Yeah.
Really, what a thing. Genuinely terrifying.
Oh, I'm not sure I'd want to pilot one.
No, it's let's face it, a sort of space frame.
Sort of.
With a massive engine. I mean, some may say not made of the most sturdy materials.
So what, from a Lancia? Surely not.
So yeah, somewhat dodgy.
Yeah, a little bit.
But a hell of a thing. I mean,
yeah.
No, not really impressive. So yeah, and just for clarity, it's that it won the. It was the 1983 World Rally Championship, and it won the constructors. Just to be clear, it won the Constructors' Championship.
Okay.
Through very, very strategic play, but helped partially in the fact that it was a cracking car as well.
Not a bad looking old Hector as well, for my money.
No. It's worth noting as well that their driver lineup was excellent, don't get me wrong, but it was none of them were full time. So Walter Roll, Marco Allen, none of them did a full campaign, but they did have enough of a campaign between them. I mean, they did have a couple of other drivers as well, but that's how they got that, and some very clever interpretation of the rules got them the championship, because that the drivers championship was won by Hannu Mikkola, was driving the Audi. Clarkson did a really good piece on it in the Grand Tour, actually, one of his actual sensible,
a proper piece of journalism.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah.
There were hints of amusing things in there, but it was quite amusing. So
he was good at that sort of thing. Yeah. Oh, very good.
Yeah, worth a watch. But yeah, really, really impressive car. Last two-wheel drive, like I said. But it won against the Audi Quattro. So fair play.
Well, and that's stiff competition.
Exactly that. Yes.
Yeah. Oh, very good. Yes, and a good choice.
Strong
good
start.
choice. Yeah. Right. Well, there's got to be a Lancia in the list somewhere, hasn't there? You just can't not. Okay, I'm going to start my list then with something not from the world of rally. I would like to talk about the BMW M1.
There we go. Tick one off my list that Mike will pick.
Yeah, there you go. Well, I have mentioned it before because I do rather like it.
Yes.
Giugiaro designed a little bit of DeLorean in there, which I always approve of.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Quite plasticky, which is an unusual choice for BMW. But I think it's
composite.
Oh, all right. Yes, all right.
No, it's a posh way of saying plastic.
It's FRP. It's plastic. Yes, exactly. Yes. It's kind of farcical development that amuses me. That BMW wanted something to compete with the 911, but they needed it quite quickly, so they went to Lamborghini to have it developed. Lamborghini rather inconsiderately went bust, so they had to scrap all that and start again. There was some story, I don't know if there's any truth of this, that they had to break in to the shut down Lamborghini factory to retrieve the body molds.
Do you know what? I think I've heard that.
I haven't been able to verify if that's true. I like the idea that it is.
Mm.
Have you heard that?
I'm sure I've read that somewhere.
Yeah.
Like I said, I don't know. I can't confirm it as absolute fact, but I've definitely heard it.
Lamborghini was in receivership and the factory was all locked up and they had to break in to get the bonds back, so they didn't have to completely start from scratch. But by the time it was all ready to go and ready to come out, the racing regulations had changed, so it wasn't going to be competitive anyway. And the whole thing from start to finish was just one enormous cock up.
It was a bit of a cock up. It did eventually race.
Yeah.
In its own one make championship.
Yes, quite. Yes. Exactly. It was kind of, we got to do something with it. But it was the first M badged BMW. And I think I'm right in saying the first and maybe the only mid-engined BMW.
Oh, now I think you're probably right there, aren't you?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. I couldn't find anything to contradict that.
No.
I don't think they hadn't done it before, and I don't think they've ever done it since.
No, absolutely no. Nothing leaps to mind whatsoever.
No. And I think it looks fantastic. I know they're quite rare now, if you can find one. But I think it's terrific. I think it looks amazing.
Oh, superb.
Yeah, and it's clearly a Giugiaro design.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
But in fact, the one thing, the wheels are almost identical to the wheels that you will find on the prototype DeLorean.
Interesting.
So whether he reused those or I don't know, but it's clearly a Giugiaro design. I think it looks fantastic, but very, very rare these days. Very, very rare.
Yeah, I have seen some at shows. I mean, not many.
No, no, they're not plentiful. But that's a particular favourite of mine. I think it's fantastic, and I love the story of it, of what a mess the whole process was. Not entirely BMW's fault, but it wasn't the best managed development process.
No, I would agree.
But I really like it, and it'll always be a favourite of mine. That.
Oh yeah, lovely thing. Yeah, good choice. Shall we? What should we do? Let's stay in the world of sort of sports car, GT cars, anything like that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw in some real rarity for homologation specials, and one that is glorious. The Nissan R390 GT1.
Ooh.
Now, in terms of rarity, to the best of my knowledge, there is one road car.
Yeah, well, I think they only, by regulation, because I've seen this one as well. Well, it's not on my list, but it was one that I came across. I think they only had to make one. That was the regulation. They just had to do the one, and then they were okay. Yeah,
so it was. The rules were very, very odd at the time, because this would have been late 90s, because this campaigned in the 97 and 98 Le Mans.
Okay.
Not brilliantly, let's face it. I mean, it was all right.
Yeah.
So I can't remember. Where did it? I can't even remember where it finished. Possibly. Part of me thinks. Oh. Yeah, I don't even think top 10 overall. I don't think.
Not a particular success.
Which is a shame, because it looked the part, had all the right components, and I think if more time was given to it, it probably would have been good. I think it was. Yeah. But yeah, really impressive bit of kit. So like we said, there's just the one of them. There are, I think there's potential that one of the racing cars actually got modified for road use.
Oh, okay, right, okay, yeah, turned back into a road car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay.
But yeah, a genuine Le Mans car for the road.
You're gonna like a bit of that, aren't you?
I am. So yeah, but proper bit of kit. 3.5 litre twin turbo V8, just utterly tremendous. I would.
Very good. Yeah, that's a solid choice.
Yeah. But yeah, not a great success. I mean, the 037 that I started with, that was very successful. This was less so. This one I've gone for because of rarity, the fact that there was one.
Well, it's the same as the BMW M1. I mean, that wasn't successful at all.
No, but it I tell you what, quite a few of them won the races that it entered.
Yeah, which was not the race it was intended for. But
no, I'm trying to give it a positive.
Trying to pick it up a bit. Yeah, give it something.
Yeah. But yeah, proper bit of kit. Yeah, like a bit of that.
Okay. I'm going to go to a particular favourite brand here. We're going we're going to the Blue Oval.
Of course we are.
Let's be honest. Let's be now. I have more than one of these on my list, as you would imagine. But I am going to start on that list with the Ford Sierra RS500 Cosworth.
Cool. It's like playing bingo, isn't it? Cross them off my list.
It's so predictable. Damn it.
Yeah, and they've all got Mike in brackets next to them as well. It's all going incredibly well.
You're going to know all of them. Well, if you get them all, you win a fish. I don't
want a bloody fish.
Well, that's the prize. I don't make the rules. Although clearly in this case I am.
Yeah.
Yes, there we go. So based on the 3-door Mark I Sierra, which in itself was a wonderful thing.
Yeah,
the fact that quite rare 3-door Sierra at all is brilliant.
Yeah. Not commonplace in its bog standard form.
Not very rare now. Very rare now. It was only at the beginning of the Sierra's life, the 82, 83, that it was available as a 3-door. But yeah, you do very occasionally you'll see one. But it is with that massive rear window.
It's a lot of glass, isn't it?
It's a lot of glass there. Absolutely. Yes. And the RS500 uses the same body shell as the road car, as the 3-door, but with the big what later became the XR4i double wing on the back.
That's right. Yeah.
Quite a distinctive looking thing. 225 brake horsepower, which doesn't sound a lot by today's standards, but then was enough. They tweaked it a bit, bigger intercooler, uprated suspension, uprated cooling. As I mentioned, big spoiler on the back, different bumpers, different wheels, different side treatment, different side skirts. And it was very successful, particularly in British touring car, as we know.
Yep, British touring car, European touring car. It just did the lot.
Australia, Germany, Japan, New Zealand, all of them. Yeah, it wiped the floor. It was a bit of a legend in its era, and one of the first of the really fast forwards. It sort of, I know we had the Escort Mexico and things like that in the rally world, but
this with proper, like I say, homologation special, which is what we're obviously where we are, but it's that thing of going, it had the good engine, it had the turbo, it had all of the gubbins to go with it, so it was a proper bit of kit.
Yeah, it looked the part. And if occasionally one of these comes up for sale and just goes for stupid money. Now. And I think it's fantastic. I mean, we all love a fast forward.
And it is glorious.
Yeah. It is. Apparently predictable.
Yeah. But like I said, if you hadn't shouted it out, then I would be doing that. So
then you would have it as well. Yeah, you've got to, haven't you? You've got to.
It is truly significant.
And I find the 3-door Sierra quite amusing.
It's daft, isn't it?
It is really daft. Yes.
But I like it. Shall we stick with the world of no, actually, because that was a touring car. I tell you what, no, we're not sticking with that. We're going to rally cars. How about one of my favourites, the Peugeot 205 T16?
Good choice. Yes, I came across this one in my research as well. Yes, very good choice.
Now, this is a proper bit of kit. A mid-engine 205. For full face removal.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I loved what they did to this. The big clamshell back end and
that.
Yeah.
I mean, just absolutely not a 205, but a good try. No,
not in any way.
No. So I think there are bits that you could argue might appear on a 205, but you really are clutching at straws.
Maybe stuff like the headlights and the front bumper. Maybe. That's about it.
But an incredibly successful car as well.
Yes.
I think it won. When I was looking through it, I think it won 16 rounds of the championship.
Wow.
Split over. That was over 3 years, but was a championship-winning car as well. So it won the 85 and 86 constructors and drivers titles. Timo Salonen and Juha Kankkunen. What a proper, let's face it, dangerous bit of kit.
Yeah, four-wheel drive too, which of course the standard car certainly wasn't.
4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
Engine slightly in the middle. It's fine.
Slightly in a different place to normal.
Yeah. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Absolutely don't worry about that. But it was, but the fact you can buy a rally car of that, road car of that.
Yes. Absolutely, yeah.
It's just nuts.
Well, that's what it was all about, though, wasn't it? It was, you watch them racing on a Sunday, and then you go into the dealership on a Monday and buy your own version of it.
Yeah, you buy your own version of a short wheelbase mid-engine death box.
Yeah.
Because it's all of the things that you go, do I want that all in one package? Because it sounds like it's going to kill me.
Yeah, you wouldn't last long.
No. Yeah. But tremendous,
super valuable today. Occasionally one comes up at auction.
It's big numbers. Big numbers.
Yeah, it is, but it's particularly if you find one that actually did go racing.
But if you get the road variant, I'm sure I've seen them get near, like, dare I say it, sort of £250,000.
There was one at one of the recent Silverstone auctions that Harry covered, and I'm sure it got to that sort of number. Yeah, that was an actual racing one. Still had all its livery and everything on it, but telephone numbers now.
Genuinely terrifying. And I just, it's what a thing. But yes, more of that, please.
Very good. Well, I'm also going with a bit of a hot hatch. I'm sticking with Ford, and I'd be staggered if this one's not on your list of cars I was going to choose. Kind of the little sister to the Sierra, the Escort RS Cosworth.
Oh, nearly a full house now.
I've no doubt that you will get a full house.
It all depends on how many Fords we've got left.
Yeah, well, I may surprise you with what I've got coming up, but nevertheless, there we are. The car that termed the phrase "Gorakoze."
It did. It really did that.
It did.
And I tell you what, it was of that era where, because they were produced sort of 91, 92 they started and ran for a couple of years.
Yes, based on the Mark V Escort, which was not the best of the
Escorts. It was not the best.
Let's be honest.
And let's also face it, you say based on it, there's an awful lot of Sierra in there as well.
Oh, yeah, loosely based. Yeah, kind of the same shape. But
it's of that era where it became the car that we wanted, because I was quite a young little lad at the time, and just went, you know what, I want that.
Yeah.
That I wouldn't shut up about it at the time.
If you remember, Mr. Clarkson had one as a long-termer at the time, and it got a lot of coverage on Top Gear.
It did, and he called it Gary.
Well, it is called Gary.
Yeah.
That's its name.
That
actual car came up for auction recently.
What a
few
thing.
months ago. The actual one that he had is still around, and it was sold again not that long ago.
I'm surprised he didn't want it himself.
Yeah. I think Drive Tribe did a video about it. And I think they did offer for him to see it, and he wasn't particularly interested anymore. So, but I guess for him, I mean, all the cars that must have been through his hands over the years, it's just an old Ford, isn't it, really? I mean, and he's not really in that game anymore. So,
no, I suppose you're fairly correct, I would say. It did. When it actually went rallying, it was reasonably successful.
Yeah, well, the Fords tend to be, don't they?
And don't get me wrong, it wasn't a championship winner, but it did well.
Yeah.
I think the best season it had was 93.
Don't know. Haven't got any information on that. I know it never did win the World Rally Championship.
It did. It did all right though. But you're not going to get any arguments from me, because it was, like I said, it was that one thing that I remember just pestering my dad to get any sort of literature, anything he could, or remind me if it was going to be on telly. It was that car that sort of went, oh, I want that.
Yeah. Cosworth 4-wheel drive, of course, like the Peugeot. Cosworth 4-cylinder engine, 230 brake horse.
So they
fiddled with the turbo a bit during the production time to make it a bit more, usable.
Less like an on-off switch. Yeah.
Yes, a bit more usable on the road. I think they turned it down a bit. 0 to 60 in 5.7 seconds, which for the time was pretty brisk.
You think early 90s, that's rapid, isn't it?
It's rapid. Yeah, it was a fast car. Yeah, absolutely. Continuing on from the RS Turbo XR3Is that had gone before. It's a fast Escort. There's nothing better.
No, absolutely not. No, what a absolutely lovely thing. Okay, right. So let's go back to sports cars and GT cars now. So I'm going to go with the Porsche 911 GT1 Strassen version.
Oh, very good. Watch your pronunciation there.
Yeah. Don't cock it up. What a thing.
Yes.
Now this had an interesting history, because there were a few produced. So I think we had 20. Where did I look this up? 25.
Okay.
So the majority of them, of the Strassen versions, were based on, or certainly appeared to look like the 996. So they had the similar headlights that divide people.
Yes.
But there are
divisive headlights. There's
Yeah.
a phrase that doesn't come up often.
So there are some really early ones, early street going cars that are 993 styled.
Okay.
Now those are the really rare ones. Those are, those are the ones. If you can find those, you are laughing, basically.
Yeah.
Because they look a bit more traditional.
Yeah.
And if you, proper bit of kit, and reasonably successful as well.
Okay. Yeah.
So what year was it? It was the 98. I'm sure it was 98. It won Le Mans.
Okay. Oh, that's proper.
And oh god, would that have been? No, it wouldn't have been. No, maybe it was. I think that would have been Porsche's last. That was Porsche's last win for quite some time as well.
Yeah.
I think they didn't win again till 20. God, blimey, 15. But yeah, that's irrelevant. That's me going off on stats.
You can stat it up all you like. I have no idea on that.
Yeah. But the fact that these are quite rare, but more commonplace than, say, for example, the Nissan.
Right. Yes.
And I have seen a Strassen version once.
What? Just the one? Okay.
Yeah. But it doesn't really resemble a 911 when you actually stood next to it. You go, I can see bits, but it's not quite.
No, it's slightly off.
a bit of a weapon, I'll give it that.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Well, there had to be a Porsche on your list, didn't there? Really? I mean,
they did.
Yeah, they did. Yeah.
Okay.
This
is fine.
Now I'm gonna cock up your list here because I don't think this is one you're gonna have on your list for me. Now I learned about this particular car from a detailing channel that I follow on YouTube.
Okay.
White Details, run by Jim White up in Leicester, who does it's a really good channel if you like watching people polishing cars. You may or may not. I don't know. Anyway, I'm
fine with that. Yes.
Yes, I think it's a great channel. He seems like a really nice guy, and he does meticulous work.
Perfect.
He can transform vehicles and has done many times. But he had one of these in a little while ago, and I didn't know anything about it. So I looked into it, and this is the Mitsubishi Pajero Evolution.
I mean, granted, I wouldn't expect you to have that on your list, but I knew that was a thing.
Oh yeah, I'm sure you knew. Yeah, I mean, you being a JDM guy, I know you would know about it, but that's what I meant. I bet you didn't have it on your list. So 19. I think 97. Mitsubishi decided they want to have a go at the Paris Dakar, and to do so at the time they needed to sell some road cars of what they were going to enter, and so they picked the short wheelbase Pajero as a fairly humdrum SUV, drop in a 3.5 litre V6, massive side skirts, wheel arches, protection plates underneath, all the gear, and there you are. You've got a homologation special SUV.
And do you know what as well? I mean, absolutely brilliant choice at Peugeot. Really good. The Evo is what a thing.
Yeah. It really is. I was really taken by it.
Oh yeah. But I tell you what, it's a beautiful callback, isn't it, to our, I believe, first episode.
Oh, is it?
I'm sure it is. Bear with, because I think our first episode. I like the sound of it. I think our first episode was called "What's in a Name."
Yes, I believe that's correct. Yes.
That was it. And we said, yes, we discussed the issue of car manufacturers picking safe names for cars in a global market.
That's right. I remember that discussion. Yes. Yes. So that they don't accidentally pick a word that in some language is really rude or something like that.
That's right. And to not, as we discussed, Peugeot in Spanish or Spanish-speaking countries is an issue.
It's a problem. Yes.
It is, because you end up driving around in a Mitsubishi masturbator.
Yeah, and that's not a good look.
No, it's a strong look. And I tell you what, when you've got a homologation special, you're in a Mitsubishi masturbator Evo. Yeah.
That's hardcore.
Yeah, that's it. Oh dear. Well done, you.
You've ruined it now.
I didn't. We ruined it the first time we recorded something.
We did. That's true. Well, a lot of people obviously didn't mind about that, because they actually built 2,500 of these, which for a homologation special is an enormous number.
Yeah, that is quite a lot. And I have seen a few of those.
Well, they're a bit more common. The one Jim White had on his channel was a red one, and it needed quite a lot of work because single stage paint, very difficult to sort out, and there's a lot of decals on it as well.
Yes,
which don't age well. So, especially if the car isn't kept polished. So,
actually, where I bought my car from, they recently sold one actually.
If I was going to suggest the dealer where you might get one, it would be them.
Yeah, I think they sold one within the last month.
Right. Okay. I think it's brilliant. Is that perhaps our favourite SUV on this podcast?
A homologation special SUV. Well, I suppose so, because it can actually do things off road.
It's in with a shout, isn't it? It's in with that and the original Range Rover.
Yeah,
I would say is where we would probably go. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, I think that's up there. And I've got a soft spot for a Land Cruiser as well.
Absolutely. There you go. Yep.
But again, they fall into the purposeful category rather than, it's not a cash car, is it?
Well, it's very much not. Purposeful and capable. Everything a cash car isn't.
Quite. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You are 100% correct. So let's be a little selective off the list, shall we? What have I? Oh, hang on. I'm meant to be ticking these off.
I've done 4 now, I think. So
that's okay. Like I said, I'm being quite selective. I'm not going to delve into all of the oddities that I've got.
Well, you could do a little quickfire list if you wanted, but I'd hate to waste your research.
No. I don't want to go too off course. So I'm just getting. There's one of the ones I didn't prep the tab on. So here we go. No, you'll like this. This is proper homologation special and proper rare as well.
Okay.
So, can I interest you in a Citroen BX 4TC?
Oh, you certainly can, sir. Yes.
Now,
Wow.
This is something that people really don't know about.
No, I bet they don't.
So, when Group B was a thing, Citroen went, yeah, we'll have a bash. And thought,
Yeah, we'll get in on that.
We'll get in on that. What should we take? Oh, the BX.
Of course. That makes total sense, doesn't it? Tow car of the year.
Yeah, perfect. So I think they were intending to enter the 85 World Rally Championship.
That would be the right era. Yeah.
And I think they. I'm really clutching at straws. I think they missed, but managed to get it into some of the 86 events.
Okay.
But yeah, it was an absolute flop.
Yeah, well, it would be, wouldn't it? Really?
Yeah. But there was a road car of it.
Okay.
And it's quite the thing. And I'd love to have a go in one. I've never. I mean, they're so rare. I've never seen the rally car or the road car. They're so
rare.
So rare. So little of these things knocking around.
Yeah.
To
be fair, there aren't many BXs of any sort left, really. But...
And now, if this is to be believed, I can't remember how many. I think there were 200 possibly made.
Okay, so we're not talking big numbers here.
No, only a handful of those were actually sold.
Mm-hmm.
And no, I think this is correct. I would have to do a bit more digging, but I think the unsold ones were destroyed.
Oh no, that's a shame.
By Citroen.
Okay. Right. Okay. Why would they do that?
I don't know. Maybe to just pretend it never happened.
That's a bit weird, isn't it? Okay. That's a shame. That's a real shame. Okay. Oh, that's disappointing.
It's one of those things. It's like, how are you going to sell a homologation special of a car that was an absolute flop on the rally stage?
Yeah, it's not going to go well, is it? That's the problem with that. Yeah. I mean, the BX itself, of course, was a huge seller. But
yeah.
In fact, Dawn's dad had 2 BXs.
He was so enamoured with the unreliable nature of them.
It was. He had another one, and then he replaced the second one with a Xantia.
I think we've discussed this previously. Yeah,
I've shown you a picture of it because I found a photo of the Xantia.
Lunatic.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. But yeah, I thought that one makes it onto the list because of its real oddity. No one expected a Citroen BX to go Group B rallying.
No, that's incredible. That's incredible. Of all the cars you would pick, I know. This will work.
Absolute insanity.
Well, Citroen were good at insanity.
It was their thing, wasn't it? So.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, weird. Yeah, they did stuff no one else would go near.
Oh yeah. Go on then.
Okay.
What have you got for us?
I've got one that's
going to.
My final one, I think I could probably scare up another one if I needed to, but I only had sort of 5 solid ones on my list. But this one actually is a car you mentioned earlier and links back to a car on your list, and this is the Audi Sport Quattro S1. Excellent
choice. Well, it was the Group B poster car, wasn't it?
It was. Yeah, absolutely. 1983 and 1984. They, as you mentioned earlier, Audi had been somewhat knackered by the Peugeot 205 216. So to try and claw something back from that, they made a shorter, 12.6 centimeters shorter wheelbase Quattro. Number of other changes, mainly slapped together from fiberglass and Kevlar, and sort of honed the whole design a little bit, re-entered it to try and get their title back.
Quite, and it made for quite an interesting looking road car.
Yeah, with the sort of almost the kind of bobtail version of the Quattro.
Yeah. I really quite like it. I mean, it's possibly a little awkward.
The proportions are a little bit off compared to the road car, which is understandable because it was a little bit of a. Although it was sort of an in-house bodge, wasn't it? Really?
Yeah, I think that's fair.
Honest, yes. It wouldn't have made it to be a full-scale production car. It just wasn't sufficiently developed.
There you go. I've just sent you some pictures of one of the road going one that I saw.
Oh, there you go.
Only the other day. Well, the other day, go. A little while back, but
a little while ago. Yeah. There you go. It's the back end, isn't it?
It's a little awkward, but I tell you what, they look purposeful.
They do look purposeful. It doesn't, in my opinion, look as good without the quad headlights.
No, I would agree.
Yeah, I think it needs that. That really gives it something. The back end's a little bit chopped. It's just, like you say, it's not quite right. But they wanted it to be lighter and nimbler to compete with the much smaller Peugeot. And therefore, that's what they ended up with. But yeah, the floor pan was a bit butchered to make it work.
Yeah.
But what a thing. But it's from what I've read, my research said, it took 2 World Rally Championships before a series of accidents ended Group B rallying in 1986.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
And that was the end of that.
Yeah, it put the tits right on that. Yeah.
But it was a car you mentioned earlier, and I thought, oh, ideal. We need to slip that in there.
Thank you. All right. I tell you what, then I
bet you didn't have that on your list for me either.
No, I didn't have it. I had it on my list, but I didn't have it on my list for you.
Yeah, of course. Yes.
So what I will do is I will round off with another rallying car, which I am just really disappointed in you.
Well, let's see what you pick, and then I'll try and defend it for not being on the list.
Well, for you, there is no defence, because I've got your name directly next to this one, and it's the Ford RS200.
I thought that's what you'd say. Yes, it was a toss-up between this and the Sierra Cosworth, and I picked the Sierra Cosworth because I find the 3-door Sierra quite amusing.
Don't get me wrong, it is amusing.
But you're right, the RS200 is special, and we have seen one of these because we've seen it together.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
So let's face it, the RS200 was not a successful car.
No, quite nowhere near as successful as the Sierra. No.
So it should have been. Unfortunately, it debuted in the '86 championship. It was not successful.
Nope.
And let's face it, it was the car itself was the beginning of the very quick end to Group B.
Yeah.
Because it was the car involved in that horrific accident in Portugal in '86.
Yeah. Which, as you say, led to Group B being banned completely.
Yeah. And yeah, it wasn't good at all. Yeah. So yeah, there was spectator fatalities in Portugal. Then in '86 as well, there was a crash involving one. I don't think it was a world championship event, but they were being used, and the co-driver was killed, and it's like it was
bad. Yeah, it was
not
bad.
great. It was that thing of going, they'd gotten too fast.
Yes, they'd gone too fast, and there just wasn't enough driver protection, and it all went a bit wrong.
Yeah, and yeah, it was Ford joined the party too late, and paid the ultimate price, really.
Bit rushed, do we think? I mean, it was a little bit cobbled together.
It was a little bit of everything.
Chassis from Jaguar, or chassis designed by a Jaguar engineer, I believe.
Yeah. Bits of Escort.
Bits of Escort.
Made in the fiberglass bodies, and I think some of the actual cars were built in the Reliant factory.
Oh, I didn't know that. I know the body was designed by Ghia, which of course is not a bad thing.
Yeah. I mean, it was an interesting looking car.
Yes, it was. I read as well the bits of XJR underneath.
Oh yeah. I'm sure I've had that.
Yes, stuff from everybody in there.
It is a parts bin special.
Yeah, it is. It is an Ibiza.
Yes. Oh yeah. Yes. The road cars are really cool. I've seen a few now.
Yeah, so have I. Yeah, they do turn up. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I can't remember. I was at some charity event, and someone brought one, and was really happy to sort of show us around the car, because I mean, you see them every now and then at a show, but it was nice to be sort of up close and personal, and like feel free to jump in, have a look, get your face in there.
Fantastic! Yeah. Oh, that is good. Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I think people always thought it was based on the Sierra because the lights are from Sierra. So certainly the back end had a slight Sierra look to it, but of course it's a lot smaller than the Sierra.
It is, and it
had a lot more to do with the Escort than the Sierra.
It did. I think it. No, this is going back a bit, but I think it had a Sierra dash.
Yes, that rings a bell as well. I know the rear lights are from Sierra.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mark 1 Sierra. Yes, I think you might be right. The road car had dash from Mark 1 Sierra. Yeah, which of course was quite distinctive and controversial in its day, in that the center console was slightly turned towards the driver.
Yes,
which was quite unusual. Yes.
I think with the doors Sierra as well.
Not sure. They do look a bit Sierra-ish, but I don't have any information to confirm that. No. Door mirrors look Sierra-ish.
I'm asking the internet. Bear with.
Okay. Yeah, don't know about that. They look a bit too shallow to be Sierra.
Amusing. You'll like this. The Ford's part bin was raided to help give the RS200 a Ford corporate look. For example, the front windscreen and rear lights were identical to those on the early Sierra, and the doors were cut down Sierra items.
So okay. Oh, well, that was a good observation then, wasn't it?
Yes, they are. They are shallow Sierra doors. Well,
the Sierra doors are a bit chopped off the bottom.
That's exactly what they are. There you go.
It was really slung together, wasn't it? This from any bits they could get.
However, it did have a resurgence and was quite a successful car in the Rallycross Championships.
Oh, okay. Even though that's not what it was built for.
Yep. So in the early 90s, it found reasonable success doing that. Which is pretty cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, then. What we picking as our favourite?
Oh, that's a very good question. What are we picking as our favourite? Do you know, I'm very tempted to go with the Peugeot.
Interesting.
Yeah.
You couldn't argue they want a usable car. God blimey.
Well, exactly. Do anything with that. Yes.
Yeah, good choice. I'm gonna go with the. Now this is difficult, but it goes back to that obsession as a youth. I'm gonna have the Escort RS Cosworth.
Well, now this is incredible. I've picked a Japanese car and you've picked a Ford. That's the wrong way round.
But at least we're consistent. At least we've got a Ford and a Japanese car.
That's true. That will be of no surprise to anyone. But we've sort of chosen each other's cars.
Yeah, I've got to ask about face, but there we go. Yes. All right. I suppose this was a topic that was going to be potentially a can of worms. So I want everyone to stop shouting us for missing an obvious one. Just let us know what we've missed. What's your favourite? Why we so stupid for picking what we've picked?
Why we're both wrong? Yes.
Love to hear that. I'm willing to battle on with you. But yeah.
A long overdue topic, this one, and I'm sure it's one that a lot of people have got thoughts on.
Yeah, I think so. And if they've got enough thoughts, we'll come back to it.
Absolutely. If you can give us some a decent list of cars we've missed, then we'll run through it again. Yeah, perfect. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. Let's do that.
Well, I think that's probably enough of that for this week. Check us out on all the various social medias and things. Thank you very much for listening.